Hello everybody, welcome to today's analysis. I know I typically do an altcoin video on Wednesdays, but again, we're just going to focus on BTC. That's primarily what I'm trading right now. And tonight for the live stream, we'll go over at least one, if not two different altcoins, and do some analysis on that, at least one from start to finish as well. All right, so with that said, let's dive into BTC. This is, in my opinion, this is the most simple chart that you could look at on BTC right now that I think really points out what's going on here. We had this, nice range here that we broke out of to the downside, right? And there's a possibility that this could then be a deviation if we were to get a significant closure back inside of the range, back test the bottom, flip it to support, and then have, bullish market structure continuation, right? So that would sort of be the path to about 21.5K. I think it's a little premature to get overly excited about that because, of course, the other scenario would then be that we come up to this zone, we reject from it, and we, come back down to the bottom of our local range, or we go even lower and create new lows, filling this monthly fair value gap that we've had our eye on for quite some time. And it also coincides with the 2019 top at about 13,900. So yeah, these are kind of my two macro scenarios that I'm looking for is, that move up, gain acceptance back in, and then continue to rotate this range here, calling this a deviation, or otherwise we reject from this zone and we then come down to, we have this this local range here, right? And this is our midpoint. But in my opinion, this is a part of a larger range, being this here, that if this point were lost, if this point were lost, then I think we would look for at least 15, if not going down to that 14 120 zone that we've had our eye on to fill this monthly fair value gap here from a couple years ago. So in my opinion, this is sort of the easiest chart to keep an eye on to tell us where we're at and where we're going. Again, we reject, this is the key zone, right? We reject from here. We can come back down, continue to range, or make new lows. We gain acceptance above, back into the upper channel, then, we can just simply look to rotate that. So to look at some lower time frame analysis, one thing that I drew out a couple possibilities. I'm going to go ahead and clean up my chart a little bit here. I drew out a couple different possibilities that I would like to go over. So here, this is where I see our key levels being. This naked point of control, I can see that there's some liquidity up here. I'd really love to see just a quick grab up here and then, kind of go from there, right? And there's a couple different scenarios that I'm looking at here. The first one being that this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in this case, we would see something of a liquidity grab here, maybe put in a range or go even a little bit higher up to that 17.5. Put in our wave 4 coming back down to this zone, this 16,800 area that has been really, really key. 16,900. This has been a really important zone for resistance, and we can see, I will pull that up here. You can see it's been, resistance here, and now again. So it's been a really key level to keep an eye on. So I think it would be really great to, see something 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like this, and then sort of reevaluate from there. Or on the other hand, maybe we see, a move up where we grab this liquidity, put in our weekend range. Similar to this last Sunday, we have a Sunday into Monday dump, at which point we back test, this 16,888 zone in the previous week high. And then, from there we would, go down and finally grab this liquidity that we had our eye on earlier this week on Monday and Tuesday. We wanted to get that grab here, but instead, the fair value gap, the top of it held as support. And we were looking for something a little bit lower, just, getting this quick move down here, at the very least a wick for then, this move up. But I mean, ultimately things have played out really, really well. This is my original drawing. So we did get this move down that I was looking for, put in our range here, got our move down here. Again, not as low as I would have preferred. And now we're, getting up to this zone where I was looking for some degree of a short position. So again, from here, like I said, our kind of our two options are we either have, some degree of continuation, putting in our way forward, then 5 up to, this 1800 level, which we know is extremely, extremely key. Otherwise, we simply come back down here and we just continue to range, right? We finally come down, we grab that liquidity, somewhere in this zone that we were looking to grab back here. And then, then we can look for some degree of a move up, or we simply continue to fall, and put in a new low, taking out these, what I would consider equal lows here, right? Typically when you see these equal lows, it may be something worthwhile, considering that we may sweep them, right? So yeah, just to a couple things to keep an eye on, and we do, have some degree of, maybe an inverse head and shoulders here playing into this triangle that, if you look at the grand scheme of things, would then be, a bear flag here. But we're seeing a breakout to the upside, and this could just simply be a deviation, right? So what I would look for here is, first of all, I do want to see this move up to grab liquidity. Okay. If we make this move up and we simply get, a quick move down, put in a range here and continue to see weakness, well, then I'm not going to expect higher, right? I'm not going to expect us to have that continuation upwards, right? I'm not going to think 1, 2, 3, 4 if we just get to here and we simply see some weakness and we come down and we lose some of these levels here. In that case, I'm not going to think that we go any higher. On the other hand, if we do come up and we continue to, hold this 16,900 zone, this area here, we do hold it as support, through the weekend, and we see some strength and see me open on Sunday, seeing some degree of continuation to the upside, looking to revisit these highs, then we can simply trade level to level, looking to this daily and then higher up to about 1800. So those are just, in my opinion, some things to keep an eye on. I think that this 16,900 zone will be very, very key. And also whether or not we do get this quick move to the upside here, before the week's end. And I honestly, I would prefer this one to happen sooner than later. Just looking at our lower time frame, let's just say we have, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Right? To me, this is a nice low time frame impulse wave to the upside that would then end here. Create some nice bearish divergence, grab this liquidity, and then, from there see our either our move down or then continuation to the upside. And it's really going to depend to me on how we wrap up this week and where we get our weekly close and our reaction here. And whether or not that this was just a deviation to the upside and we come down, or we do see continuation to the upside. And then, we have to make our decision here then, as I pointed out, make our decision in this area at that 1800 level on whether or not we're going to see continuation to the upside or if we're going to then get our move down. So being the monthly close today, I do expect to see quite a bit of volatility, and we also have some data coming out this week, as well as Powell speaking very shortly here. So we are going to see a volatile end to this week here. So do be safe trading. There are going to be whipsaws, whipsaw 15-minute candles and all that kind of thing. But again, these are just my zones, and when, or at what point do we hit them is kind of the question here. You know, if we're going to hit this zone here and have a swift rejection with continuation to the downside, or if we'll hit here and, you know, manage to find some degree of support with then continuation to the upside. We'll just have to wait and see on how all that plays out. So I'll be sure to update you guys in the Discord as we continue on. But you know, like I said, I do like a move down here just simply because there's a lot of liquidity to be grabbed. And there's also quite a bit down here, which, you know, would then take out our equal lows here and hit our monthly naked point of control on our untapped daily to the downside. Otherwise, you know, again, if this does wind up being a deviation, there's a lot of liquidity, you know, around that 21.5, where I would definitely look for some degree of a short position. But, you know, I don't want to I don't want to get too ahead of myself on looking for, you know, that type of a move just yet. So we'll have to take it level by level and just keep an eye on especially here and where the end of this week brings us. You know, if we continue to hold these higher levels, or if we, you know, do start to show weakness and lose those levels towards the downside.